clarified some information with regard to a medical excuse on a report card. Student has been absent for a period of time. We're looking for proper medical documentation, which that sentence was not part of our handbook. Again, when you get into the activities, it's pretty self-explanatory about the eligibility change. School-sponsored social events, middle school students, North Reading Middle School students only. Into under attendance, the dismissal procedure, including the bus. We need to get in our handbook that they need to show a bus pass, a valid bus pass. We don't have that in our handbook. Under discipline, cell phones, we have kind of upped the ante on the first, second, and subsequent offenses. We had a more moderate response, but there is nothing that we don't delineate clearer than the cell phone policy in this school, so we believe that on the first offense, the student would be assigned a detention. Clarification about our office detention. Again, something Mr. Maloney wanted to add. He runs the office detention. He would prefer it to be a full hour, 2:30 to 3:30. Cafeteria rules, to reiterate, food and drink must be in the cafeteria. Again, procedural things. Dress code, always one of our challenges. There's a couple of things that we added here, in particular, the idea that no undergarments be visible at any time. It can be challenging for us all the time, so we wanted to add that. And then lastly but not least, through all the edits that, since I've been here, somewhere along the line, gum chewing, the rule about gum chewing fell off the table and it was no longer in our handbook. So we felt that we needed to put that there because we had a lot of conversations this year about kids chewing gum. And once you know it, they pull out the handbook and say, where does it say in your handbook that you can't chew gum? It was one of those gotcha moments. So, that's the changes to our handbook.
Any questions or comments on the changes to the handbook?
On the cell phones and the lockers don't have locks. Do we provide the kids with locks?
We do.
Okay.
So, we have master padlocks, which we issue to all students for the old lockers. Of course, the 8th grade, the lockers in the modules, I should say, have built-in locks into the door. So, every student has a lock for their locker.
The other question on the cell phone use is, and I don't think this is built into our curriculum yet, but there are many, they're they're actually digital mobile devices as opposed to cell phones that I've read a lot of articles, schools starting to use those, the kids are answering questions on them, and do we have, if we're telling the kids to keep their phones in a locker, and then say we have a teacher who decides, I have a great program that can make use of the kids' phones, I mean, we're going to handle that on a case-by-case basis, or how?
We'll call them.
You raise more than a valid point. Obviously, everything I read talks about the instructional technology, touchscreen technology in particular, becoming, a powerful learning tool. At this point in time, we haven't solved all the different things that are associated with that. The access to the internet when we can't really govern that, and what they may be doing with their cell phones that they really shouldn't be doing. Simple texting and things of that nature. But this year we had 2 specific instances where students took pictures of another student without their permission in school, and that evening was on Facebook. So it does present some specific challenges. And our experience with middle school students is that carrying the cell phone off in their pocket is just too big a temptation. Anytime there's a free minute in the, in the hallway and lunchroom, cafeteria stay, or even in class, it's just they want to take it out to check their messages or text or whatever. So it's more than a valid point, though, that this technology needs to be embraced and brought into the learning environment. And just how we do that, we have a lot of theories about that. And you're going to see in the middle school and all the schools, the advent of the iPads are going to be brought, as a teaching tool into the classroom. But for specifically the cell phones, we haven't solved that mystery yet.
Anyone else? John, thank you very much. We're going to vote on that first, though. Before we need a motion to approve. need a,
Motion to approve the middle school 2011-2012
we have a
handbook.
motion by Karen, second by Cliff. Any further discussions regarding the changes to the middle school handbook? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries by a vote of 5-0. John, this may be the last time we see you, right?
Well,
Well, thank you
Well,
very much.
I got my fingers crossed, yeah.
Good luck
Which
in the
direction?
future. You
Yes.
did a great job when you were
Well-
here, and this is evidence of it tonight. I mean, really, we're gonna
Thank
miss
you
you. I
very
know the
much.
superintendent's gonna miss you, and I understand you had a great retirement party, so.
Yeah, it was very, very overwhelming for me, and
Yeah.
again, all the well wishes and messages, cards, and emails, and a few gifts, all under $40. You know, it's been unbelievable, and I would, as I told the faculty the other day, you know, I've had a very successful career, and it's kind of always gone uphill, thank God, and so I would say very honestly that the pinnacle was my 3 years at North Reading. This is a good way to finish out. It was an honor to come here. I really owe an awful lot, you know, Dr. Troughton, who took the risk to bring me in and helped me, mentored me, and certainly my full year with Mrs. Willis has been outstanding. But the last thing I would tell you, and I wouldn't say this if I didn't really mean it, is that in my career, I've had the distinct pleasure, if you will, to work with some school committees that really weren't all that much fun to work with. But here in North Reading, you guys are really professionals, you know, you really are. You kind of, you know when to push the envelope, you know when to step back a little bit, you know how you allow us to do what we think we should be doing. You certainly can ask pointed questions when you have to, but I would tell you that this school committee, the present members and the ones that have already, you know, retired, it has been unbelievable. It's been really great.
Oh, we really, really appreciate hearing that. You don't hear it
It's
too
really- yeah, it's
often, but
really-
we do
it's-
appreciate hearing
It's
it.
a
and,
it's distinctly different
Yeah.
from my days in other towns.
Well, the
So,
members here really do work. We don't agree on everything, that's for
Right.
sure. You can tell by some of the votes, but we do work together. And again, want to thank
Yeah.
you for
Well,
everything you've done for the middle
pleasure.
school here. We've seen a lot of work accomplished in the last 3 years. Good luck in the future.
I put a good plug in for Mrs. O'Connell. I haven't had the pleasure to work directly with her, but I've heard an awful lot of good things from people who have, and I would tell you that, you know, we may have got the ball rolling here, but you got someone coming in here that's really gonna take it to a whole new level, so
That's great.
I'm
Good.
so pleased about that.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Thank you very much. Good luck in the future.
May I
Yes.
just point out also in your packet, for point of information, John completed a brand-new program of
Program
studies for
studies.
the
Right, that was, I was
middle
gonna say,
school.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
We've never
Isn't it
had one of these
wonderful?
before.
It's the first time.
And this is great.
Hooray.
John, great job on this.
Yeah, I meant to mention
It's awesome.
Actually, he did mention
Yeah.
it. He did mention it when he started. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the high school improvement plan. And I'd ask Mr. Bernard to come front and center.
Mr. Faucher's got you all primed now for the high school improvement plan and the handbook approval. What would you like to start with, Mr. Chairman? The school improvement plan? Is
The
that-
school
all right,
improvement plan would
okay,
be good.
Very
We'll
good.
save the best for last.
All right. Sounds good. Well, good evening, everybody, again. Very happy to be here tonight to present to you the high school's school improvement plan. I do want to acknowledge the members of the council, along with me is faculty representative, Mr. Campobasso. Tricia Colella is our community representative. Tricia's been on the school council as long as I've been the principal, 8 years, and she was on before that as a parent representative. She continues to serve as a community rep. Our assistant principal, Mr. LaPret, Laura McBride, who is a senior student who just graduated. She had been our student rep, so we'll be looking for more student representation in the fall. And lastly, a parent representative, Lauren McMullen, whose son James attends the high school. I thought I would go today through some highlights for you. As has been the case in the past, the high school improvement plan is a 2-year plan. And we adopted that back several years ago with the goal of providing the school committee with information about what we were looking for 2 years out, so that when budget consideration time came, you would have some idea of some of the things that we might be looking for, with ample time to maybe advocate along with us for the funding that might be needed to accomplish some of those goals. So again, this plan is for fiscal year 12 and 13. It's the school years 2011-12 and 2012-13. So I'll just hit some highlights if that's okay.
Sure.
I decided this year to include as an appendix to the plan the high school's portion of the educational program for the new building project, the proposed building project that Brad Dorr spoke about. This, the last several pages of this document are what I had submitted to the superintendent to be included in the proposal that we forwarded off to Brad Dorr, and then ultimately that went to MSBA. So I just think it's good to have it tied into the school improvement plan, because it's probably pretty obvious the school council is very much in support of and is advocating strongly for the proposed building project. So I think it's good to have the two tied together. Like Mr. Fauché, the high school went through a review of its mission statement as we are looking to prepare for our decennial accreditation by the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, which is coming up in 2014. One of the things that we needed to do was to look at our existing mission statement and to make adjustments if we felt that there needed to be. So we did, as a faculty, feel that there were some changes that we wanted to make, and we worked with parent groups, students, faculty itself to propose what we are now calling our core values, beliefs, and 21st century learning expectations. So that is that is included in the school improvement plan on pages 2 and 3. So that is our new kind of guiding document, if you will. It speaks to what we hope to accomplish when we work with students each year. So that's included in our school improvement plan now. We also broke out, this is on page 4, 6 goals for the year that we wanted to focus in on. Just maybe for the benefit of the community, I'll just highlight them quickly. But one is to enhance the educational program for students in the areas of curriculum instruction and assessment, with a particular emphasis on providing students with the ability to meet the challenges of the 21st century. I think central to that is the broad course offerings that we work on each year and that you recently approved. I'm happy to say that we are running a number of those new courses in the fall. In fact, the students that were here earlier about the World of Sciences Club spoke about environmental science. We're actually going to be running 2 sections of that next year. 41 students enrolled in AP Environmental Science next year. So I think that, I would say, central to goal number 1 is the broad course offerings that we seek to offer each year to students. The expansion of the use of technology as a teaching and learning tool is a second goal. Goal number 3 is to satisfactorily implement the goals of the North Reading School Committee and the goals established by the North Reading High School faculty, which we do annually, and also the governing laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the federal government, and also the requirements and the provisions of the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, which is our accrediting agency. Goal number 4 may seem simple, but it can be challenging in a building of the age that we work in every day. But goal number 4 is to provide a safe and clean learning environment. Goal number 5, to provide an extracurricular program to students that contributes to their well-roundedness as individuals. I'm very proud of the proposals for new clubs that I come into the school committee with annually. Tonight is just another example, the World of Sciences Club. I want to say we've more than doubled the number of extracurricular activities at the high school over the last several years, and I think it's fair to say that the majority of those are student interest driven. So it's nice, and I do think it does provide opportunities beyond the classroom for students to demonstrate just how good they can be at things. I think tonight's presentation speaks well of that. And then lastly, goal number 6 was to maintain student-teacher ratios that allow for a high level of personalization of instruction and support for student learning. And then, as has been the case, we were fortunate again to reinstate curriculum leaders this year, partway through the year, sometime in midwinter, which is a huge boon to us at the high school, to be able to have curriculum specialists, people that are in those actual subject areas, working with staffs in those academic disciplines. So what I did was invite each of those folks in this year to meet with the council and present what they see as their needs for advancing their department. So what the next several pages are those kind of a summary of those conversations that we had over a series of about 6 or 7 school council meetings for each of the academic departments at the school. So now if we go through it a little bit near the end, what I've done is I've included a section on highlights of things that we have accomplished over the last couple of years. So the last school improvement plan being a 2-year plan. This is starts on page 14 and it goes on to page 15. And I would just highlight